Hey guys, today we're headed to the bins to meet my friend Carrie. This is Carrie's Instagram. She is also a full-time reseller, and on Instagram she posts a lot of brand tags from good brands she's finding in her stories. So if that is something you are interested in, learning new brands, seeing what people are picking up, give her a follow on Instagram. I don't know if she's gonna want to be in the video. I didn't tell her I was filming, but I am driving out now to the bins to meet her. So let's go vlog this bins trip. I forgot to say, per usual, I am dropping off a bin of kids' clothes to Once Upon a Child. Hopefully I can get anywhere from like $50 to $80. Every time I pack it, I'm like, here's my bin today. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be only like a $48 bin. But last time I was surprised, I got $79. So I'll update you at the end of the video so you guys know what I got paid out. Oh, if you're curious what I mean, I pick up kids' clothes at the bins at Once Upon a... Oh my god, what am I saying? If this is your first time and you don't know what I'm talking about, I pick up kids' stuff at the bins to take to Once Upon a Child to make a profit, and I usually make some good money. Also, I got all my reusable bag stuff in here because if you didn't know, the Romeoville, Illinois location, you have to take your stuff out of the cart to put it on a scale to weigh it instead of rolling your cart on. It's the stupidest thing ever, and they only opened less than a year ago, so I'm not sure why they did that. So I have to empty out my whole cart into bins to make it easier to weigh, into bags. And then I got some bins fuel, my first meal of the day, some blueberry banana bread, and this thing, I get these at Whole Foods. I totally recommend their yogurt and their little yogurt drinks. They taste very good. I dropped my stuff off at Once Upon a Child and made it to the bins. So when I'm meeting Carrie at the bins, I usually look for Carrie first, but of course I always get distracted by sparkly things in the bins when I first get there. So I saw this sparkly thing, pulled it out. I think it was an Indian sari or some other traditional wear. I don't really know. So I left that behind, and then I found Carrie, and I found these two kids pieces for myself to take to Once Upon a Child, and then everything else in my cart is from Carrie. She collects things for me and then gives them to me, and I am very appreciative. Thank you, Carrie. So after checking in with Carrie, I always like to check out the shoes. Carrie's not a big shoe person, so I always head over there by myself. I did have to walk past the handbags, purses to get to the shoes today though, so of course I stopped and checked those bins out. I found the sack tote, and I was considering it because I sold one in September of a smaller size, like crocheted one, for $15, but that one just had a lot of wear on the inside, so I did leave that behind. And then in the shoes, I found these Salvatore Ferragamo shoes. I don't know if I've ever sold a pair of Ferragamo shoes before, but maybe, I don't know. I did throw those in the cart though, and those did end up coming home with me. I know they're not like the cutest style, but hopefully I can get something for them. That was a cool bag, but totally stained. I'm not a big purse person. I will grab a few occasionally. I did grab this vintage, was it 9 West? Yes. I can usually get like $20 for these vintage 9 West bags. I would prefer to take them to buy, sell, trade first, but they're really picky with their purses, so I will probably just list this one by myself. And then I found one last bag that ended up coming home with me from the purse section, and it was this Ralph Lauren tote. This has like a small mark on it, but other than that, it was in good shape, and I thought someone might want it because of the RL branding all over the place. I found this 9 West bag, and I left that behind. Again, I don't really do a lot of bags, and if I do, I prefer vintage ones. If you are a purse seller, let me know in the comments, what are your bread and butter brand bags? Because again, I just don't do a lot of them, so I would love to know if there's any good bread and butter brands I should be keeping my eye out for. Of course, I know like Dooney and Burke, and I don't know. I know Vera Bradley's not doing too well these days, but that's about the extent of my purse knowledge. So I actually forgot, I did find one more bag. It's not this thing, which was also from, oh no, that was Ivanka Trump. Maybe that had resale value, but it's kind of ugly. I found this from the brand, was it Bershka? For some reason in my head, I thought this was an expensive brand, but Carrie told me it's not, but I still picked it up based on style because I felt like it gave very Y2K vibes. So if it's not worth reselling myself, I could probably try it at buy, sell, trade. Now, we finally made it to the shoes. This baby Ugg would have done so well, but I didn't find the match. But I did find these Picolinos. This is an artsy Spanish brand, I think I like to sell. It did have those flaws on it, but that will be easy for me to fix up, and then that's probably like a $30-$35 sale. resale. I didn't find the match that, oh wait, no I did. I did actually end up finding the match to that Birkenstock. Totally forgot. I haven't sorted this stuff yet. And they do show a decent amount of wear, but I can sell Birks in pretty much any condition, so those could be like $20. I have a lot of shoes right now to list and clean from the bin, so honestly I did not go too hardcore looking for matches for the shoes. So I kind of just like skimmed the top of the bins, dug to the bottom of a few bins to get shoes, but anything good that I was finding that didn't have a match, I kind of threw back. I did like these Zara loafers. I just listed a pair of Zara loafers, and so these ones were older than the style I just listed, but I thought they were still a good fall dark academia style. Carrie actually told me that they had rotated shoes a little bit before I got there. I like to get there before the shoe rotation because that way I get to go through 2 rotations, even if the first one is picked over. I usually still find shoes in picked over bins. Those snow boots I was considering for Once Upon a Child because they were in good shape, but they would probably just be too heavy. Like it wouldn't be worth the money they'd pay me to grab those, so I left them behind. If you're gonna try to sell shoes to Once Upon a Child, one thing you need to note is, at least for my locations, the shoes need to have a size in them, and that is something that is missing more than you would think in children's shoes. So I have been burned a few times. I found these Zodiac platform sandals. They were in very good condition. I doubt they've ever been worn. Zodiac is like a department store brand, like sold at Nordstrom, but it's not the highest retailing. So I grab it sometimes, usually when I can get it for cheap, and since those were in such good condition and a trendy style, I did grab those. I found this Dolce Vita sandal, and maybe if the match had been near it, then I would have grabbed it, but again, I was not really digging too much for matches today. I did find these Earth shoes, and Earth has a few different lines in it, like Earth Origins and Earth Spirit. Let me know if you know. I think those are all the same like company, but if they're not, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. When they're good condition leather shoes, I do tend to grab them because they do have a following, so I would expect around 20 to 25 for those because they were in good shape. I'm thinking about changing up my business model a little bit, but shoes will stay the same because I love selling shoes. I love selling bin shoes, even though I have to clean them. I love that I can get them for like $1.50 to $2 and make good money on them. I found these Crocs shoes, and Crocs, like adult, like, you know, non-classic Crocs can actually do well. These ones will need to be cleaned up a little, but I think I could get at least 20. These shoes were from the brand Hotter, which I have not had a whole lot of luck with in the past, but they do retail for like over $100. So I thought the style was kind of funky and might do well. I think I tried them on because they didn't have a size, and I figured they were my size, and they were, but they had that flaw peeling on the leather right there. So I did leave those behind since the brand doesn't usually even do well for me. JBU, is that like Jimbo? I don't know, they have a few different lines. I don't usually pick that up, and the match wasn't right by it. Aerosols, let me know, do you guys, if you sell shoes, have luck with aerosols? I always pass on them, but I think some pieces can do well, so let me know if that is a brand you've had luck with. I do like selling Mark Fisher, but this is their cheaper line, so I did pass on those. They were in good shape other than like I think one minor flaw. So this is the brand La Canadienne, which I learned a few months ago is a pretty expensive brand. These probably retailed for like $400 or $500, but again, the match was not right by it. As you can see, I threw some shoes around looking for it a little bit, but it wasn't right there, and I wasn't going to spend too much time looking for it. I passed on those Clarks because Clarks are really hit or miss for me, so I have to really like the style to pick them up. I think that was Topshop, and I don't sell Topshop shoes. So shoes were not like super awesome today, but they weren't terrible either. I grabbed a few pairs. Definitely was pretty picked over. So I love lining up for shoe rotations because it's definitely when you're going to find the best things, obviously because they're fresh bins. And I know a lot of people don't like to line up for bins rotations, but I don't know. I don't think that our Romeoville, Illinois bins are too crazy, so I do line up for rotations there. Of course, I got distracted by the clothing bins across from the shoe bins. I found this Cabby jacket. I don't love Cabby, but some pieces from Cabby do well. I didn't check exact comps on that jacket, but since it was a more substantial piece and we're in fall winter, I did grab it. I was looking at that graphic tee for buy sell trade because they do like graphic tees. This was a J. Crew thermal, and I don't remember. Let's see, did I throw it in my cart? It looks like it's in good condition. I guess I did, which means that will probably also go to buy, sell, trade, because since like it's just a men's J. Crew basic, it's probably not going to go for much. Don't know that brand. It didn't look like it was worth looking up, so passed on that. Now, this is a Lucky Brand graphic t-shirt, and I wish that my buy, sell, trade stores would take this, or it was worth reselling, because I come across cute little Lucky Brand tees all the time, but nobody wants them, so I have to leave them behind. Next, I found this pair of women's Duluth trading pants, and they were a plus size. I believe they're an 18. Yes, so I did grab those because I have been experimenting with women's Duluth trading, and I think like the few pieces I've listed, I've sold at least two, like 2 out of 3. So, I mean, it's been doing decent. So if I can grab it for cheap, I have been grabbing it. So coming up, I found a pullover from the brand 3 Dots, and the logo is just those 3 dots. It doesn't say 3 dots anywhere. And it is a more expensive retail brand, but this was all pilly. And also, I do believe that they've sold a few pieces at Costco. So while I have seen it sold at like Nordstrom and I believe Revolve, like it's also sold at Costco. So I am tending to leave that behind. I found these Gap pants, which I thought my mom might want, but honestly, she might already own them. She pretty much only lives in Gap and the other stuff I thrift her. So I did leave those behind. I found this pair of shorts that were new with tags, and I was hoping that they were a kid size because, I mean, Once Upon a Child buys pretty much anything new with tags from me, even like no-name brands, but they were adult, so I did leave those behind because it didn't seem like they'd be worth too much. And I don't know where that brand is sold, but I know it's not worth reselling. I found this dress. It was from the brand Francesca's, which is funny. I used to sell that back in like 2016, but I don't sell it anymore. And it was also flawed, so I couldn't sell it anyway. There was a pair of Levi's, but I passed on pretty much all Levi's unless I can tell they were like sold on Revolve or something. I found this men's Calvin Klein piece, and I probably would have grabbed it if it had a chest logo, but it didn't. And for buy, sell, trade, not to sell myself. I found these Gap jeans, which I thought were super cute because they had this little pocket embroidery on the butt, but I couldn't tell if they were sold that way or someone did it. I think someone might have done it. So I did leave those. If I could tell, like if it was all over, I probably would have grabbed them for like buy, sell, trade or Plato's Closet, even though I'm really trying not to grab things for Plato's Closet these days. I found this kid's Adidas piece for Once Upon a Child, and I grabbed it because, again, I grabbed pretty much all kids' clothes in good condition for them. And I swear, I thought this was LuLaRoe, but it was LuLaRoe, and so of course I passed on that. I will say, I feel like I see less LuLaRoe in the bins than I used to. I found somebody's shoe pile throwback into the clothing bin. Like, I don't know why they threw them back into the clothing bin across from the shoes, but I did grab those Clarks because they were in good shape, and I guess I was more interested in that style. There are Sass shoes. See, I just threw them back into the shoe bins just in case somebody going through the shoes wanted those brands. Those were a pair of Puma shoes. I thought about it for a minute and then ultimately decided to leave it behind. Then I found this pair of Keens that were also somebody's throwback, and I was like, why did they throw these back? And I first checked the size, and the size was there, and they just looked like they needed a wipe down, so I grabbed them. If you watch bins content, I'm sure you always hear to check people's throwbacks because you never know what or why they're throwing things back, and this just proves it. Like, I found these CVs in somebody's throwback pile, and they were in good shape. I think they were men's. CVs does like okay for me. I'm assuming I can get like 25 for those, so happy to grab those. And this little Franco Sardo Y2K shoe I would have grabbed if the match was there, but it wasn't, so that could have been why somebody threw it back. And then I found this little North Face hat, and so I'm glad I looked at it, and I picked it up for my mom, although I don't know if she'll want it because she's kind of weird about used hats. Like, everything else is chill, but used hats, not so much. I'll sell it if she doesn't want it. Those were mud shoes, Y2K ones I would have grabbed if they weren't leather peeling, but they were kind of done since that leather was peeling. I took a bin of stuff to Plato's Closet last week, and they gave me $14 for 4 pieces, and I left with a bin full of stuff. I used to take stuff to Plato's Closet. I'm sure you know if you watch Pounds to Plato's on my channel, but a couple of years ago I realized I just wasn't making money anymore there, so it was bad. I saw this Hollister pullover and was thinking, oh, I could take that to Plato's, and then I remembered I'm not taking stuff to Plato's anymore because I it's not worth it for me to take things to Plato's. I end up with bins full of stuff and really don't profit. So no longer picking up things for Plato's. But if you guys can make money that way, that's awesome. And I'd say go for it. I wish I could, but my Plato's are bad. I saw this pink skirt and I was thinking, ooh, something for Once Upon a Child. But actually, it was a new with tags, Free People, pink corduroy skirt. Goodwill had it priced at $10, never sold. Now, this is like probably a little bit of a harder sell because, you know, we're not really in Barbiecore anymore, but I was not going to leave that behind in the bins. I found this single Allbird, but I don't even know if I would have picked it up if I found both because Allbirds have, I don't even remember the last time I sold a pair of Allbirds. Oh yeah, by the way, we're back in the shoe bins. I feel like I'm a bad bin shopper because my ADHD just gets me distracted all the time. As you can see, I was shopping in the shoes, got distracted by the clothes, and then popped back over to the shoes. I mean, obviously it's not a terrible way to shop, but definitely not cohesive. I found these Danskos. I was checking them over, and you have to do the bendy test. So that is what you'll see me doing here. You have to do the bendy test to make sure that the soles aren't cracking. And I have sold, like back in the beginning of my reselling days, sold a pair of soles that crumbled. These soles didn't crack or crumble when I bent and twisted them, so they're in pretty good shape. And we are in fall going into winter, but I think these could be a $30 sales in spring. Okay, so I do often, when I'm doing these style videos, film myself going through the bins, but I feel like it wasn't the best way to do it in the shoes. But you guys just didn't see what I was finding as much. I love these Filas. I have a pair for myself and they've been packed away for a few years and I need to get them back out because I think they're pretty comfortable. Even if they're not in style anymore, I'm probably still going to wear them. I did find these shoes for Once Upon a Child. I think they were Cat and Jack. Again, my criteria for Once Upon a Child is they have to have a size and they have to be in near perfect condition. They can be used, but they can't have any, like especially scuffing, can't have any scuffing. I decided I didn't like this angle for filming going through shoe bins, so I went back to my regular digging method. I feel like this just looks better. You can actually see what I'm going through here. Now, I found another single Allbird. Here it is. I don't think I would have even bought it if I found the mate. Let me know. Have you guys been selling Allbirds? Because as I said, I'm just not selling them. Those were girl shoes that I passed on because I think they just had a little too much wear. And coming up here, I found a pair of UFOs. And I have never found UFOs to sell. I've only found them pretty beat in the bins. These ones looked worse in person. They were just really discolored. And I was thinking, maybe I can soak them, but I never soak shoes. I have a pile that I need to do and I just haven't. So I've heard they do well, but I have never sold a pair myself. I was hoping this was a good bag, but it was just Target. And here I spotted them. I was like, no way. Fly London just sitting waiting for me. Nope, they were just Clark's. So that was a big disappointment, but I still did grab them because since they're that Fly London style, I do think that they'll do okay. And I have found Fly London in the bins. If you guys aren't familiar with that brand, I actually haven't sold it in a while, but it's like a high retail, funky style brand. So I would give them a Google and see what kind of styles they do, just in case you ever come across them, because I think they do sell like 50 to 100. These were Hannah Anderson shoes, and so I was thinking about them, but then I realized how beat up they were, so I left those behind. And Hannah Anderson, I'm sure you're familiar, is a good kids brand. That is one kids brand I decided to sell myself instead of taking to Once Upon a Child. Although I will say Hannah Anderson has not been moving very fast for me recently, so I might reevaluate whether it's worth even selling myself if it takes half a year to sell, because I mean, Once Upon a Child just gives me instant cash. I was hoping those were Natives. That is a kid and adult brand, but they're really known for shoes that style in kids. These are Gap snow boots, and I haven't decided if I'm going to sell them myself or take them to Once Upon a Child, because snow boots sell consistently for me, and since they do have at least a little bit of a brand name behind them, I think I could probably get $12 to $15. Although I am going to have to reevaluate those small dollar sales, because with Poshmark's new fee structure, you are actually making less on the small dollar sales than you did before. I found this on Cloud Shoe and I was like, oh bummer, a single, it looks in good shape. But then I found the match and I don't know why I'm showing the size. There's the match. And I was like, okay, they're a little bit dirty, but they're not in bad condition. That's pretty exciting. And then I was like, wait, why did somebody not buy these yet? Like,
there are so many people looking for athletic shoes in the bins. So then I looked there and I'm like, are they missing a piece? But I didn't feel like Googling. I was like, I'm just gonna buy them and find out. And you know, if they're missing something, then it's like a $2 loss on my end, which is not the end of the world. I found a van. I always say van when it's just a single. They're Vans, even when you find only one. And I do pick up good condition Vans shoes, but I'm staying away from some classic styles right now because I have a lot. That purse was nothing, and this obviously was just a fake, cheap nothing bag. And then I came across a single that I thought was a Vans shoe, but it's actually a Nike. And see, it just looks very Vans-esque. And I was like, okay, if I find the mate, I'll grab it. But of course, it doesn't have the match. None of these shoes have their matches today. And then I found it. And you know, they look pretty worn, but I think all they really need is for me to take a lighter to the like pilly, I don't even know what the right word, shaggy, like leather, and they'll look a lot nicer after I burn off all the pilly leather. So I don't know comps on those at all. And there was the UGG again that didn't have a match. And these two end bins that I'm going through right now tend to be where everybody throws back shoes they don't want or throws back their singles. So I did actually not take a whole lot of time digging in here. If I really wanted to find my singles, then I would have dug here. But I didn't even collect any singles this day, guys. I, again, was not going hardcore shoe shopping. I was being lazy. And if you are like, why don't I find any shoes in the bins, and you're just shopping like I'm shopping today, that's probably why, because you need to touch every single shoe in the bins, and you need to go back and check for your singles. That is Monroe. That is a high retail comfort shoe brand sold at department stores, but I've only ever sold it in like the $20 to $30 range. I cannot get it to sell, so I rarely pick it up unless it seems like a very special style. I think those were Cole Haan, but they just had a little bit of wear. Like on a day when I wanted to buy a lot of shoes, I probably would have bought those and cleaned them up. But again, I didn't need a whole lot of shoes. Blowfish, I haven't had a whole lot of luck with that brand, so I didn't grab that pair. Here's a pair of Keds. These I would have grabbed probably if they looked nicer, but they were pretty dirty. And honestly, Keds, again, not the easiest sale because it's just a flooded market, but that color was unique, so maybe. Also though, there's a pair of Keds I think that, or maybe a few styles that Taylor Swift did a collab with, so I googled those because those could probably go for more. Here was a Coach bag I found in the shoes. It was pretty buried. I don't know if it was someone's throwback or if it went out with the shoes and nobody ever grabbed it, but I was rewarded for digging just a little bit instead of skimming the top, so I will have to clean that up, but I was excited to find it. These are Vince Camuto shoes. I do like selling Vince Camuto, but I didn't like that style, so I did throw them back because I felt like they were just a little dated. And then I found these. I think these are a DSW house brand. Kelly and Katie, let me know if you know for sure, but those were a girl's shoe, and so they were pretty clean, and I did pick them up for Once Upon a Child. I didn't realize how much shoe digging footage I got until pretty much just now. We're pretty far into the video, and you guys haven't seen a lot of clothing, so I promise we do get to some clothing bins, and I just cut ahead to a few more shoe finds. This was probably one of my better finds of the day. I found these Vionic sneakers in really good condition. I'm surprised nobody grabbed them. I do often find Vionic in the bin, so I wonder if it's just a shoe brand people aren't familiar with. I found these two Fila's. These are the ones I was talking about earlier, except they have the big Fila logo across the top. They are called Disruptors, I think is what they're called, and I've not sold this style with the Fila logo spell out, and I thought they were kids, but they're actually a woman, 7.5, so I decided to clean those up and give them a try. I don't think they'll be worth too much, but hopefully $25. Digging to the bottom of the bins can often pay off, and it did pay off. I found this pair of Chacos, pretty dirty, but I'll clean them up and get them listed. I will say, I have not seen Chacos selling very fast recently, not that I come across a lot, but I'm still gonna pick them up because they're still like a notable shoe brand that people look out for. I found this Merrill, and I would have grabbed this if I saw the mate nearby, but I didn't. I have sold a similar pair of Merrill shoes like that before for like 30 bucks. Then I found this Ked, and you've probably been seeing this Keds. The brand is Keds, even though I found a single. It's still Keds. Okay, I found a single Keds, and I'm sure you guys saw the other one floating around, and since they were clean, I did grab them. And then I found these JBU shoes, Jabu, which I talked about earlier. And since I hadn't seen this style before and they seem to be in very good condition, I did decide to give those a try. I think they'll probably be like a $20 sale. Okay, and I think we're on to the final shoe find of the day. I pulled out these hoping they were mini Bowden, but they were Cat and Jack shoes, which were in good shape, so I will be taking them to Once Upon a Child. And as I said, I think we are finished up in the shoes, and now we are going to go meet Carrie to dig through some clothing bins. Now, on my way to meet Carrie, I found this coat from the brand, it was Karl Lagerfeld. Not a brand I really pick up, but I do pick up coats in most like department store brands because they can sell like $30 to $40.
This is Carrie, my bins friend, local Illinois reseller.
Carrie and I actually met through Instagram. We have been chatting on Instagram, I feel like since I was in high school, maybe 2017 or 2018, definitely before she had her twins, and she's always tossing me awesome stuff like this little kid's dress that I will be taking to Once Upon a Child, and then she tossed me this Zara piece that I may be selling myself because I might have some that I can lot up. But guess what? Online reselling friends can become real life reselling friends, and we've seen each other a lot more frequently with this new bins location. I found this Matilda Jane dress. It's an adult woman's dress. It doesn't do fantastic, but I feel like the style might do well in fall, so I did grab that. Then Carrie tossed me this silk joie blouse. It is an older tag by them, and honestly, I've just been leaving joie behind because I feel like no one wants it anymore. Also, this piece had runs in it, so it definitely made it easier for me to leave it behind. But I was at the thrift store the other day and found two beautiful joie maxi dresses. I didn't even check comps because I didn't want to be disappointed. So let me know, what are you guys doing these days with joie? Is it selling for you? I'd love to know if I'm leaving money on the table. I saw this crocheted piece peeking out of the bins, and I had my hopes up, even if it was just something I could take to buy, sell, trade, but it was Forever 21, and unfortunately, I don't even think Crossroads or Buffalo Exchange would buy that. Then I found one of my current favorite brands to resell, Ivy City Co., and I believe I've actually sold this dress in pink before. Sorry I didn't give you guys a very good look at it, but it is a like Utah brand that does, I don't even know, very garden party dresses, and I have sold them for over $100. This style I think I sold for under $100, so I was glad to grab that dress. I have been experimenting with cut from the cloth when I can get it cheap. This was a brand I sold like 7 years ago and then stopped picking up after skinny jeans weren't so popular anymore. Those ones had a mark on them, so I did leave them behind. Then I found these Zara jeans, and I pulled them out and looked at them, and they seemed pretty good, no staining, and so I did grab them because they reminded me of a style that I sold a couple months ago for like either full asking price or someone accepted my offers to Likers, which it kind of is like full asking price. Also, I could always take the Zara to buy, sell, trade. I'm sure they would buy those jeans now that we're in fall. Guys, I'm toying with the idea of doing a series next week where I go to the bins every single day of the week and vlog it, and also take stuff to Once Upon a Child and just experiment with a different business model. So if that sounds at all interesting to you guys, definitely keep an eye out. I passed on that Michael Kors coat because it had a hole in it, so buy, sell, trade wouldn't buy it, and it was actually a girl's, so Once Upon a Child wouldn't buy it. But I did pick up those athletic girl shorts to resell on Poshmark. Again, that's a classic small dollar, like $15 sale for me, which I will have to be reevaluating with Poshmark's new fee structure. I grabbed this vintage dress for Crossroads Buffalo Exchange, which is what I refer to as buy, sell, trade, because they do buy vintage. They don't buy all vintage, so I'm pretty selective with what I take them, but I do think this is a dress they will take. And as you can see, my cart is getting way too big because Carrie and I just add stuff to it all day long. My athletic girls fell off the top, and then I noticed a stain on the little piece I picked up, but it was no big deal. So these were freshly rotated bins. I think they'd been out for maybe 5-10 minutes, and I started digging through them. I don't think I lined up for this rotation. I'll line up for like 1 or 2 rotations throughout the day, but honestly, I'm usually just so into where I'm digging that I just keep digging where I am instead of going to the new bins. That was a pajama piece. Actually, both of these. Victoria's Secret one I did end up getting. It was a nightgown, but the other piece from the brand Flora, it sold at Anthropologie, but that was just a pajama tank. So I did end up throwing that back since I didn't find the bottoms. My cart was just way too big to keep pushing that around the store, so I had to start sorting and getting rid of stuff. Here I'm just sorting the kids' clothes and looking for anything at all that could make Once Upon a Child pass, missing buttons, stains, pilling. A big one is if they don't have a size tag. I just had to get rid of a pair of Cat and Jack shorts that the size was cut out of because I didn't notice, and they rejected it both times I took it. And so after they rejected it both times, I had to look it over, and I was like, oh man, they rejected it because there's no size. And then these are just a couple pieces you guys already saw, these Athletic Girl shorts. I did find more Athletic Girl stuff, but I threw that to Carrie because her niece likes it, and I give Carrie whatever I can because she gives me so much. There's that vintage dress that I will be trying at Buy Sell Trade, and I don't know what I'll do if they don't buy it because I don't really like selling vintage myself. Then I found this, actually no, I think Carrie found this, kids Zara piece, and again I am trying to collect Zara, and then I will just lot up like 3 or 4 of the same sizes and sell it on Poshmark. But I have found that Zara girls dresses and maybe some of the bigger size pants, like 6 and up, they'll sell by themselves, not for a lot, but like for 12 to 15, which for a third time is the price range I'm gonna have to start evaluating. But since I have these pieces, I will be listing them. I found this cool vintage Oregon piece, and I don't know if I'm going to sell it myself or take it to Buy Sell Trade because again, I don't really sell vintage, but I do like that piece. That's a Victoria's Secret piece. I don't actually remember why I grabbed that. Maybe it was an XL, but Victoria's Secret I usually don't grab a lot of. I did, however, grab the nightgown because I thought the nightgown might do well. I wasn't familiar with this brand of dress, but I figured Buy Sell Trade would take it if it was not worth anything. I grabbed this Athleta tee for myself. It had some staining, so that is why I kept it for me to do yoga in. I grabbed that vintage blazer because that seemed like a style Buy Sell Trade would like.
Okay, I checked out with this one cart and it was $96. I still have another cart inside, but I figured I'd shop a little more, sort that cart, and then check out again because I'm not worried about hitting the 25-pound weight limit at all.
What I meant by the 25-pound weight limit is you get a discount if you hit 25 pounds, and I do every single time because I'm a shopping addict. So I lined up for this new bin rotation. I saw that vintage Disney tag sticking out, but then that person was shopping before they said go, and that's always annoying. So I waited. As soon as they said go, I started digging. Actually, wait, no, they didn't even say go here. Then they said go, and that t-shirt was lost, and that's okay because I don't really need vintage Disney. And then I heard a guy say, like a t-shirt bro to his another t-shirt bro, he's like, oh, here's some vintage Disney for you. And I'm like, that's nice. We're all helping each other out. This was actually the last rotation of the day, but we did stay till close, which is 7 p.m. They stopped rotating maybe at like 5:30, and that's when a lot of people head out. But we like to dig through the bins until they kick us out, especially because Carrie has to make over a 2-hour drive to get up to where we are in Illinois. I honestly didn't film much after that last rotation just because Carrie and I were chatting and kind of lazily digging in the bins, not digging too hard. We already found a lot of stuff. Here I am sorting my second cart of the night, and I think because this cart had the shoes in it, I ended up spending $150, maybe close to $200. I was asking Carrie about this Dragon Ball Z t-shirt, which I ended up passing on because it had a stain and comps weren't that good. But if there was no stain, I would have grabbed it for Buy Sell Trade.
Say bye to the YouTube video. Carrie says bye, YouTube. Maybe we'll see you Thursday. All right, heading out now, leaving the Goodwill Outlet, going to Once Upon a Child to pick up my sell slash, buy what they purchased from me. There is no space in my car except for the Once Upon a Child tote. I packed it full. as you can see, and even my passenger thing, my trunk is full of stuff I need to take to Plato's Closet, so I just had to pack the back row of my car in my passenger seat. And I will let you know how much Once Upon a Child pays me. Alrighty, picked up from Once Upon a Child, and they gave me $69.65 for about, I'd say, 85% of my tote. You can't even see, it's dark. I still have a few items left in there, and I noticed that most of them are summer things that they passed on, and they do buy year round, but maybe they're just not buying as much summer right now. So I will take those things back to them. Maybe I'll throw them in a tote and wait a few months, but I'm pretty happy with my $69. Again, every time I pack the tote, I'm thinking like, oh man, it's only gonna be like $40, and it's always more. So love selling to Once Upon a Child, at least the location I go to here. So that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know you guys like this style of thrift with me. I don't know if I'm going to do a haul for all of this stuff. I haven't decided yet, so stay tuned. But I am posting consistently for the past month, Tuesday and Friday. So I'm going to try to keep that schedule. So look out for my videos on Tuesday and Friday. All right, bye guys.